far more than just a single sign-on product. What we have here is we are logging as John Smith, as you can see, and when John Smith look at this patient info, he can see that the fields, social security, address, date of birth, whatever, are not grayed out for him. So he can see this. For example, if he clicks onto Martin Joshua as a patient, oh, he gets information that he hasn't paid bills. When he clicks on it, he can get to see the social security number of Martin Joshua. But this application has a way, internally doesn't have the controls to limit who can see this. So for example, if we switch back to Jane, now as you can see, we are logged as Jane, and when Jane clicks onto the patient info, she cannot see the social security numbers. They are grayed out. So again, the application doesn't have the controls. With the agent is so powerful that you can get your agent to give you a hand, and without having to modify the application, you can have some control. But there's even more than just that. Let's go back to John. So here as you can see, we are back to John with super fast switching, and John looks at information for Martin Joshua. He also is interested in this. Let's say that this is a celebrity, Danielle Diaz. He wants to get social security bill for her. Okay, I got it here. Very good. I'm gonna close this, and and then let's say that the information gets stolen, and you want to find out actually who did it. And let's say that you suspect that it was actually John Smith. There are ways of really you can find who actually accessed the information, but let's assume that you suspect that it's John Smith. So we're going to go now into the IMS server, and we are going to use the login capabilities of IMS server that we have shown before. We go to Access Admin, and we are logging automatically. We also have single sign-on on the IMS server, so it logs as an administrator. And we're going to look here for John Smith. John Smith. We search, we find a John Smith. He's looking, and sure enough, this John Smith we have been here before. But when we click on Audit Logs, look what we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing that even though the application doesn't have the login capability, I mean, the right way of fixing this would be to put the access control on the application as well as the login. But let's say that you cannot afford, or you cannot modify that application, or cost you too much money. You can have Access Agent to do it for you. Not only to selectively show something to some people and something cannot be shown to some people, but also look at this login. We can see that a few minutes ago, Mr. John Smith looked at patient record information for Danielle Diaz. So don't tell me you didn't do it, John. You did. And we also were looking at information for Martin Joshua. And below that, I mean, you really got a kick out of this. I mean, you are putting information away from us. So let's go back to access to John Smith. And from now, we're going to invoke Access Studio. This is not something that you will normally bring up from the client machine, but I'm just going to use it here to show how Access Studio does this, even though the application is not capable of supporting. The first thing that we do, as we did before, we import from the IMS server all the profiles. And the profile for this particular application is this one, Healthcare Demo Application. Okay, and we are particularly in this area on the Other task. We click Edit. It's on the patient message that we get the information. Again, click Edit here, click Next. This is the way that you will do it, but it has already been done for us. And we get here that when he clicks on that information and the patient information is passed from the control, that's the piece that we actually log, and that's what you were able to see that in the log. Again, this is point to be made. This is not strong security, because if I disable the agent, in fact, let me do it on Jane. Let's go back to Jane. Here in Jane, you see that this is grayed out. Well, I'm going to close the application. I'm going to turn the agent off, just to see, for you to see that is the agent the one that makes this happen. We disable the agent, and when you click on the application, now, well, we can join as Jane Smith, password insane 28. We log in as such, and now the information is not grayed out. Well, obviously you can also configure the single sign-on to hide this option of allowing the user to enable or disable the agent. But this is not only a way of showing that it can help you with some application and save some money and deploy things much quicker, but also to show you the capabilities of this super agent that is good for single sign-on and a few other things as well.